What's good, everyone? My name is Luis Torres. This is episode 216 of True to Size.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome to True to Size. We are a weekly podcast centered around the wild world of sneakers. I will be your host today. My name is Lawrence Hopkins, and I'm joined by half of the rest of the quarantine at Canada Got Soul, Mr. Joel Hernandez.
Yeah, eh?
There we go. Yeah, that's what we're doing this week. The other half of the quarantine, Mr. Alvin Martinez, could not be here today. He had to attend to a sick daughter, but just in time, I was able to secure another sneaker father to come on and replace him seamlessly. You'll not even notice the difference. And for the fifth week in a row, or the fourth week in a fourth episode in a row?
Yeah.
Fourth episode in a row, we have a guest. That means I get to give them the celebrity intro. So here we go. I'm pretty proud of this one.
Okay.
So already introduced himself. Whatever. All right.
Bars.
Joining us from the desert with a collection as hot as the Arizona sun.
Sun. Oh.
3 minus 2 equals 1. And that's how many marathons this man has run.
Run.
They say written word media is dead. Well, he'd say it's back. His name is Luis Torres. But to him, I fucked it up.
Oh, again.
Shit. Oh,
Run it,
his name is Luis Torres, but call him LT on the track.
Track.
Damn, I fucked it up. I spelled something wrong, and I was like, what was I trying to say?
Typo.
Luis, thanks for being here.
Yes. Thank you.
And despite the unfortunate delivery of the intro, I appreciate it.
Really, honestly, it's going to set the tone for the rest of the podcast. So I hope you're ready for that. For those of you unfamiliar, hopefully you're all familiar already. First of all, as I said, Luis is joining us from Phoenix, Arizona. You're in Phoenix, right?
Yeah, Phoenix.
Phoenix. So it's very warm there. And it's also, the other six?
The other six.
What's the Phoenix area code?
602.
602.
Oh, 602.
Okay. There we go. Wow.
The other six.
Cities, as they say.
Yeah.
Luis is a former coworker of mine, current pain in the ass, and current editor-in-chief at Nice Kicks, which is like pretty cool.
Yeah.
I remember when he told me he got that gig, I was like, that's great. You still can't leave, but that's great. Good for you. But yeah, we'll get into all that later. That's, pretty prestigious position for a prestigious guy. So we'll get into talking about that in a bit. But first, we've got a great show for you all this week. We've got some more dramatic news unfolding. I like that we have like the news guy here too. Like there's no one better to talk about sneaker news than
he's right there. Yeah.
Not sneaker news. Talk about Nice Kicks news than some dramatic news unfolding as another brand drops a high-profile roster member. Then we are getting into a very hypothetical NSR that's probably going to get us thinking. And after that, we're going to get into things with Luis. He's playing a round of 21 questions. He's going to get into his life as a sneaker writer, how he's seen it progress, and what exactly an editor-in-chief does. Because as far as I know, he doesn't do a whole lot. But first, Joel.
Fire round.
Yes, the fire round. We have that. Yeah, see that? We got that Nice Kicks budget now.
That's it.
Yes, the fire round. We'd like to start the show with a quick hitting question from you, our listeners. And this week's question comes from me because. So I got to thinking. So this is kind of inspired by the Lost and Founds coming out. It's now, by the time this episode comes out, T-minus 1 week, because this episode will drop on Saturday. And everyone is like all excited in general, but all excited because this new pair has this new fancy insole. If you guys have seen this, it's supposed to make them more comfortable. So Jordan 1 is going to be more comfortable. Whoa. And I want to know, how much does comfort actually play a role into your guys' sneaker purchases? Because I feel like it's a comment that everyone makes, like, oh, they're so uncomfortable. Oh, I love New Balances. They're so comfy. Like, okay, let's pump the brakes here. If we were going comfort, I don't think any of us would be doing. This is my answer, by the way. If we were doing comfort, I don't know if any one of us would be buying Nike or Adidas or any of those things. So it can't be that important for me, honestly. For all the stuff you see sitting behind me, Jordans and Nikes, comfort is very minimal. I'm not gonna lie. As long as my foot is not like bleeding and the shoe fits properly, I'm probably still gonna wear it. Like
It's still weird. Yeah.
realistically, like if I'm doing comfort, I'm probably gonna wear a pair of slides or like Birkenstocks. Like that's comfort, or Skechers. Like that's comfort. I'm not buying a Jordan 1 because I'm like, oh yeah, I need some comfy shoes for going out. Like no. And anyone who says they are lying. So, but anyways, Joel, how about you? How much does comfort actually play a role? You're a little bit of the elder statesman, so maybe.
Yes. Ancient statesman. But yeah, man, like as you get older and you get the kids, and then your back starts going from running around after them and shit like that, and like chasing the dog across the street that has no leash and stuff like that. You want the comfort. Trust me, you want comfort. And like with Air Jordan 1s, for instance, it's like if I do wear them, like anything that's flat, like that has that flat footbed, I have to have like an insole in them. Like insoles, by the God of grace, like it's helped me a lot, like with anything and everything, and it saves me from the back pain, because when you get older, you get the back pain, the knee pain, everything pain, like what I mean. So yeah, for me right now, like if I were to speak like right now, it's definitely a plus that it's comfort.
Damn, you're making yourself sound so old, bro. Like you're not.
Because I am.
Old.
I'm not lying, bro. I'm not lying. It's a fact, Like yeah.
Man. All right, Luis is like a mix because he's young, but he also has a kid. So, how much does it play a role for you, Luis?
I feel old, man, especially after working with you.
Feels like an eternity.
Oh my god. I mean, it's like, kind to your point, right? It's a nice plus. Like, I'm not expecting that when I'm buying a shoe. Like, I'm just like, oh, is that cool? I mean, obviously, it's nice now that New Balance is hot, because that just two birds, one stone. Like, yeah, like I'll cop these Joe Fresh goods. Oh yeah, they're comfy as shit. $9.90, like that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, granted, I'm 24, but like, yeah, if something's comfy, like it helps, but that's not why I'm buying shoes or that. I mean, it's different though when it comes to running, obviously.
Yeah.
That's but the strictly performance, like then I'm like, all right, comfort means something different there, but that's really the only time where I'm like, I really need to feel the benefits of the shoe before I buy it.
Yeah, totally agree. I think it goes without saying that a performance shoe needs to be comfortable. When I was making my big grandiose statement, I hoped that was implied. I do not want bloody feet when I'm running. So just to be clear for everybody, if you would like to submit a question for the fire round and have us answered on the pod, please shoot us a message on Instagram or email us at canadagodssoul@gmail.com. Next up, the CGS picks. Each week, we all pick an upcoming sneaker to analyze, dissect, and give our thoughts on. Then we decide if it's poop, scoop, whoop-de-whoop, or Joel's trademark phrase,
cute.
Just cute.
Because I can't say like
yeah, you can't say it like Alvin. No one can say it like Alvin. That's all right. We'll splice in him saying it. Act like he's here. I should have said the CGS pick sponsored by Nice Kicks, because I was gonna exclusively use Nice Kicks articles, but they're not paying for this spot, so sorry. We'll talk to their advertising department after this. I'm gonna go first, and my pick this week is coming up quick, almost like sneaky quick, because Lost and Found fever has taken over the sneaker world since the calendar turned over to autumn. But mine is the AMM Air Jordan 4 that's coming up next week, next Wednesday or Thursday, I want to say, the 17th. Yeah, I wasn't completely sold on this shoe. Raffle details came out today, and you can kind of feel however you want about that. I know a lot of people are mixed reviews or mixed reception on that, but that's rather here nor there. The shoe itself has grown on me a ton, especially now that I'm seeing official images. Mostly like, I don't know what you want to call this upper, like a dark plum mixed with like brown. I don't even know. It's a weird, unique color. Quilted insoles, cool AMM detailing on the upper. I didn't notice this at first, and this helped push me over as well. Nike Air branding on the heel tab, which is obviously a great touch on a Jordan 4. Co-branded box, which you've seen with the 1, 2s, and 3s so far. So yeah, just a really, you know what you're getting from AMM and Jordan at this point, and these are no exception. Quality looks great. Yeah, they're still very torn, because when I first saw them, I didn't love them. I don't often find myself reaching for a Jordan 4. And because it's like almost like it's like a deconstruct upper, The collar looks like it's like missing something, if that makes any sense. Like when you look at the shoe, it looks like flimsy, even though it's not. It's a quilted lining, but yeah, there's just something about it. It looks like Hender Scheme almost. Like remember that Hender Scheme Jordan 4s?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's giving me those vibes, and I wasn't a huge fan of those. Anyways, they're just a cute. I'm not sure. I'll probably still end up buying them, see them in hand, and then make my decision after that. But great job as always by AMM. Joel, what is your pick this week?
All right, so my pick is following the big release of the Her Loss album. My pick is the Certified Lover Boy Nocta Air Force Ones. Finally, we get a release date for these. We got snippets of like pictures, like teasers here and there, but yeah, there was no release date yet. Now we finally do. It's slated to drop for December 2nd, so just in time for the holidays.
Just your white Air Force season, yeah. December.
That's it, right? Yeah, December, man. What can go wrong with snow, right?
Snow?
Yeah, Luis is like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah, snow. Yeah, Luis like, what's snow? What are you talking about?
Never matter.
Yeah, but yeah. So basically, it's your typical white on white Air Force Ones, your white on white Uptowns, but you got like the detailing. You got the Nocta, trident symbol on the heel tab. You got tumbled leather, which is probably on like any craft Air Force Ones that you find. The shape of it is like on point. You got the branding of, let's see, Love You Forever. On the heel, I guess on the sole, on the heel that replaces that air symbol, that air tab on the Air Force One, and it's also on the box as well. So to give this to your shorty, to give this to your wife, to your girl, your boyfriend, your whatever, for Christmas, just in time, December 2nd.
They should have held out for Valentine's Day at this
I know,
point.
right? Because it's Love You Forever. You should have for real.
Joel, are you gonna grab these? I know you're Mr. Air Force, but I know that you're not Mr. Drake. So
yeah, these are like meh, like
just a meh.
Just a meh. Yeah, not really a scoop, not really a poop, just a meh.
Just sitting somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
on the flip side, then, Luis, the Mr. Drake, are these you going for these? Double up?
Look, I'm not even like an Air Force One guy. That's a 2-pair minimum. So yeah. 6-side tings,
6-side tings. Let's go. They are honestly they are a cool shoe. I like that. Like the midsole / outsole instead of air. What does it say? Certified Lover Boy.
It says love you forever.
Oh, that's what it says in the midsole. Okay.
Yeah.
That's like they had to get a completely new mold for that. Yeah, like that's pretty cool. Not just like a Supreme Air Force One where they just stamped the Supreme logo on it. Like they actually changed the shoe, so I can give them that. But it's a white Air Force also. But more for Luis. He's fine with that.
I'll take proxies.
Oh yeah, we got you. We got the Toronto stock coming in hot for you. Luis, what is your nice kicks pick of the week?
I mean, honestly, it's still too early to tell, but I think since the information of it came out, like I've been just hyped on it. White cement 3s. I think that's
oh yeah.
Obviously still way too early to tell, but that's gonna be a problem come February. So
did they say All-Star Weekend? Is that what we're thinking?
Off the record? No, I mean they haven't really said it.
Actually completely on the record.
Yeah, this cannot be more on the record, right? Yeah. We're actually live.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's a live studio audience here.
No, but it would make sense given that Black Cement 3 is released All-Star Weekend as well back in 2018.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they'll do the same this time around.
I felt like a genius because literally like earlier this year, I had a pair of the 88s. I think it was 2013 they did those.
Yeah, 2013.
Somewhere around there. The 88 White Cement 3s, the first pair they brought back Nike Air, the big deal. I had them and I never wore them for, I guess it was almost 10 years, never wore them and traded them earlier this year. And now all of a sudden, like 6 months later, boom, they're coming back. I feel like a businessman. I feel like a genius. Like, look at me. Stonks. Just like buy low, sell high, and then more stock coming in, boom. Just
what'd you trade them for though?
Supreme Dunks. So I mean the Stars one. The UNC, yeah. So I mean, pretty good trade. The Supreme High. Yeah, very excited for the White Cement 3 to come back. Just an incredible shoe. Anyways, moving on. Next up, This Week in Kicks, sponsored by Nice Kicks. This is the part of the show where we discuss this entire episode is sponsored by Nice Kicks, by the way. They just don't know it yet. They haven't
I'm going to lose my job.
They'll be paying for this.
Yeah.
This Week in Nice Kicks. This is the part of the show where we discuss the current headlines and happenings in the world of sneakers. And so 2 weeks ago, we had Kanye and Adidas in the splits. And now Nike is dropping one of their signature athletes. So comes obviously literally just after anti-Semitic remarks from Kanye that caused him to get dropped by Adidas. We now have Nike quote unquote suspending Kyrie Irving for an indefinite amount of time for linking a movie that promotes anti-Semitic beliefs. So I believe is on Amazon Prime. I actually didn't look into what movie it is. I just have been like reading the news on it. Yeah, and they also have canceled the upcoming release of the Kyrie 8. 8 or 9?
Yeah.
8.
8, yeah.
Yeah, so this also comes after the Brooklyn Nets suspended him for also an indefinite amount of time until he met certain criteria or stipulations or whatever for him to be allowed to return. Saw a list of those stipulations, and it was lengthy, to say the least. Yeah, and this is also coming off of what, like at least 2 years of Nike and Kyrie having a go of it. With the whole COVID situation and him saying these shoes suck. I think it was last year he said these shoes suck.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were already rumored to be on their last legs, and this was supposedly their last year. And now this kind of just seems like it all came to a head, and they have split now. But yeah, this is another crazy one. Like, I feel like it's kind of being outshined, if you will, by the Kanye thing, because the Kanye thing is still very fresh and it feels quote unquote bigger because Kanye and Adidas are like synonymous with each other at this point. Kyrie's line was like the third or fourth best that Nike offered. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts here? Because it felt different than, obviously it is different than the Kanye Adidas thing. Like, it's just very different. Luis is the newsman, so I'm sure he has some opinions, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kanye was more expected, right?
Yes.
Like, I think, at least for me, when what was it? I think it was on Bloomberg, or I forget.
That sounds right.
Yeah, when he called out Gap and Adidas, I was like, yeah, this is not going to last 10 more years. Like, there's 5 more years at that point. Like, there's no way in hell. So we kind of saw it coming. Obviously, him doubling down on his comments, like, only made it. It was just a matter of when, not if. Yeah. You know. So, but the Kyrie thing, I mean, it was. Even though it was expected, I think, kind of to Lawrence's point, like, we were all just so focused on Kanye and felt that, like, we didn't really pay it no minds of like, oh, could this lead to Nike cutting it off? Because again, they were just on kind of like shaky waters.
It didn't even cross my mind. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I didn't even think about it.
Yeah. No, I saw the Shams tweet. I'm like, oh, well, gotta write a story right now. At like 5 p.m. on a Friday. Like,
back to my desk.
Which I think the timing of it too was just wild, right? It was like 5 p.m. or I think at that point Eastern, it was like maybe 8 when the news broke.
It was late.
So it was like, wow, like that was just, again, not expected. Obviously, Nike had a statement ready and whatnot. But I think kind of just, again, the fact that it was just so sudden. And to your point, right, Kyrie's influence in the basketball space is obviously very much different than Kanye's when it comes to the overall football world. So, but just I think even from a news perspective, like, it's just wild to kind of see where it's, where celebrities and athletes have come and gone in this space, right? Like, Kanye and the Yeezy 1 to like what it is now, right? Because we wouldn't have the Travis Scotts and the Drakes and all these collaborations if it weren't for him. Kind of see it, I don't want to say the genesis, but really one of the trendsetters in that space kind of come to an end. It's like, it's kind of weird in a sense, or eerie. I don't really know how to describe it.
100%. Yeah. It feels the same with Kyrie to an extent. He's on the 8 now. Like, he felt like the new guy on Nike to me still, because I mean, similar to, I'm sure you got, I think Luis at least, like, it was like LeBron, Kobe, KD were like the old regime, and Kyrie was like, Kyrie and Giannis kind of were like the newish, Giannis newer, but newish wave. It always felt like the new guy, but then all of a sudden you look down on paper and it's like, oh, the Kyrie 8 was supposed to come out. Like, that's not new by any means. And like, he's one of the premier players in the league, like, when he's playing when like there's all the other stuff aside, right?
Yeah.
The real striking thing to me was just like the difference in which these brands dealt with these situations, because like Yeezy and Adidas were basically going at it, with Adidas taking the brunt of the blows for a year, 2 years. Like Kanye was just throwing punches left and right, just seemingly trying to get out. And Kyrie, say what you want about him, but it felt like he realized he made a mistake, or was trying to like not elevate the situation like Kanye was. Like Kanye was like leaning into shit, and Kyrie was just like, I wasn't on purpose. Like I come on, like I'm a good guy, like that kind of thing. And Nike was like, nope, still nope. They were like immediate with it, basically. Like this happened like 2-3 weeks ago, and it's over, done, deaded. And again, like Kanye West throwing shit around for 2 years or longer, and Adidas was just like, lots of money. Sorry, got to get that fourth wave runner out. Too bad. So yeah, that's not shocking when you know anything about Nike, but it's just crazy to see because they both happened around the same time. Joel, any thoughts here? Because I know Jomar loved Kyrie stuff. No,
man, he loved balling in them. It's a great shoe. It's a great ball shoe to ball in. But I think with regards to like the whole like timing of it, I think Nike cut ties quick time with Kyrie because of the whole Kanye thing.
Yeah,
they just didn't want to be that. They didn't want to have it like, they just wanted to be like, we're going to do it like this. They just wanted to be the bigger person or the bigger brand. You know what I mean? We're not going to take any shit. We're just going to do it right now. And, and it sucks because like you said, like, a lot of these kids that ball in like the smaller leagues, or even like, the high school team, those high school kids that ball in the Kyries, they're not going to, they're waiting for the 8. I hear a lot of chatter with like Jomar's ball league. Like they're all talking about, oh, I can't wait for the 8 to come in. Oh, I can't wait for the next Kyrie. What do they look like? What do you think? And it's like, that's the go-to because the way that he plays as a player, like with no attitude behind it, no business behind anything. It's just the way that he balls out. And he's a ball god, like, you know what I mean? And it just sucks because it's he put his views out there, that whole touchy subject, like, you know what I mean? And it's a whole touchy subject, and he put his views out there, he backed it up, and he wants to, the way that he apologized didn't seem like it was authentic enough.
Yeah, it was
like, I don't even think he said sorry.
I don't think he actually said I'm sorry.
No, he didn't. He just worked his way around it, and you know what I mean? And
he's a very prideful man.
Like, yeah, it is. And it just sucks because I just read before the pod that somebody had said that he may never come back to the NBA.
Saw that.
This could be it. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, what a way to go out. But, c'est la vie, right?
Sure is. And even just the price point of the Kyrie, it was always like the entry level ball sneaker, well, entry level ish as he got further down the line. But like his first couple ones were $100, $90, very much accessible for people. So I mean, now it's probably like the Giannis is like the next most accessible pair. But it really, it does suck. But again, sorry, don't be a dickhead.
Exactly.
Anyways, moving on to previously in Kicks. This is the part of the show where we review our latest pickups and recap the latest happenings in our sneaker lives. Very uneventful week for me in the last week. I know that the tail end of this month is just going to be BANANAS. So I have been trying to be good. I was very close to pulling the trigger on those Supreme 98 TLs. I backed out. I was like, almost got that Seiko Supreme alarm clock. I backed out. I was like, nope, not right now. I don't need it. What do I need an alarm clock for? What am I doing here?
You don't have a job, so it doesn't. Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, exactly. What am I waking up for?
You don't got to get up for anything.
Let the sun wake me up. So been very, very responsible as of late because I plan on being incredibly irresponsible for the rest of the year. So balance, yin and yang. Joel, anything for you in the last week?
That would be a negative.
Negative, quote unquote, negative. Until that embargo lifts, it's a negative.
Exactly. Please take this down. Please take this down.
Sorry, sorry, Puma.
I don't have anything. Sorry,
man. Luis, anything? You're always posting stuff, but anything notable in the last week, 2 weeks for you?
Had to cup my alma mater dunks, unofficial ASU dunk logos.
Yes.
Had to have those. And then also copped I copped them a while ago, but they finally delivered the pink Joe Freshgoods 990.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
Those are crazy in hand. But yeah, that's been kind of it picks wise that I can remember. But to Lawrence's point, I'm trying not to buy stuff because November, December is going to be nuts.
Yeah.
It's a problem. I can't believe it's next week already. Like, a week and a half, but I can't believe it's next week and it's lost and found. Like, that's.
I mean, and if you think about it, right? Like this next week, women's Midnight Navy 11s gonna grab those for my daughter.
Yep.
Silver bullets, 185 is kind of crazy.
It's steep, man. I was thinking too, but it's expensive.
185,
US.
Yeah, US. I can't imagine CAD. And then obviously lost and found. Like that's within 10 days.
And AMM4s.
Oh yeah, that too.
Like, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot. Yeah. And then Christmas is right around the corner. Thanksgiving for you guys. Yeah, it's an adventure. It's an
Black Friday
adventure. Yeah, Black Friday is let's not think about it. Moving on. Next up, thumbs up, thumbs down. This is the part of the show where we give our opinion on various sneaker or non-sneaker related topics with zero context or discussion. All we're allowed to say is thumbs up or thumbs down. And in honor of our certified lover Luis joining the podcast, and in honor of, as Joel mentioned, our mans or lack thereof mandems, Drizzy Drake and 21 Savage to an extent, dropping their album over the weekend. I want to know thumbs up, thumbs down to Her Loss. I am a thumbs down. Joel.
Up.
Luis.
Way up.
Way up.
Way up.
Spot the Drake references in the episode.
Nice. Take a shot every time you have a Drake reference. You're going to get blacked out.
Take a shot every time there's a Drake reference. Moving on. Non-sneaker related. We talk about sneakers a lot. So in this weekly segment, we're going to take 30 seconds out of the show to discuss something completely irrelevant from the world of sneakers. And this is, I'm proud of this one. This is one of those ones, Luis, for you, Thanksgiving dinner, when you sit down and you're with all your close loved ones. This is a question you're going to ask them. Promise me that. My question to you guys, I was watching Narnia the other night, Chronicles of Narnia. Good movie. And they ride into war. Like the good guys have cheetahs and the bad guys have like polar bears as their like helpers or what. I don't know. So I want to know, if you're going into battle, what's one creature you'd want to have on your side? It could be mythological, fake, made up, anything. What's one creature you'd want to have on your side? You can have as many as you want or as few as you want. Again, take the question however you'd like. Could be an animal, could be not. Joel, you look like you have an answer. Like just the look on your face tells me you have it.
I'm ready for war.
Yeah, tell me your answer.
Godzilla. Come on. Come on, like a whole army of Godzilla. No one's touching you, bro.
Yeah.
No one's touching you. Not even Drake's gonna touch you.
Is that a challenge?
Louis was about to say, I'd have 1,000 drizzies with me.
Bunch of OVO owls, you know?
Bunch of OVO owls. God, game over.
That's a good one. A bunch of Godzillas is a good one. I was thinking smaller, but now I feel like I would lose to your team. Shit. Give me, you know what? I'm going to stick with my original answer. Give me zombies. I would like zombies on my team. Give me like, you ever seen those zombie movies? Not like the slow ones, like Walking Dead, where they just like walk, but like
the ones
where they climb the walls and stuff, like the crazy ones. Yeah, give me like those crazy fast zombies. Like, Godzilla is great, but like once he's like covered in zombies, he can't kill them, they're dead. Like, what's he gonna do? So I'm gonna go give me zombies as my creature of choice to go into battle with. It'd be nice to have zombies on your side. Like, come on now. Luis, your answer, please.
Not really in that same vein at all. I'm gonna keep it realistic.
I think you're implying
a lot of kangaroos.
Kangaroos.
It's
not a bad answer.
Yeah, that is good.
They can box and kick. Like
man.
Like, that tail is a joke.
Those pictures of like the ripped, kangaroos.
You don't want none of that.
Yeah, that would be a really crazy three-way battle there. Godzilla versus zombies versus kangaroos is just the different directions that our minds went were just incredible. All right, moving on to our main topic of discussion this week, which is Luis's existence. Before we get into anything, we like to start our interviews with our guests with a little segment called 21 Questions. And all you're going to do basically is play 21 questions about yourself. And you just have to give the first answer that comes to mind. Very quick, very easy. Everyone fails. Are you ready?
Absolutely not.
Question number 1, air or boost?
Air.
Question number 2, crew socks or no shows?
Crew socks.
That's interesting because you live in the desert. Question number 3, Air Max 1 or Air Max 90?
Ooh, Air Max 90.
Tough one. Question number 4, shoelaces tied in a bow or hanging loose?
Tying them, babies.
Tying them. Question number 5, pineapple on pizza?
Absolutely.
Thank God. I think we had like 3 guests in a row that have been like, no.
Yeah,
disgusting. Luis is an honorary Canadian. He knows what's up. Question number 6, favorite brand that isn't Nike or Jordan?
Hoka.
Hoka.
Oh, Hoka.
I think that may be a first. Question number 7, Dunks or Jordan 1s?
Can I say neither?
No.
Jordan 1s.
Jordan 1s. Question number 8, what's a color that belongs on every shoe?
Black.
Question number 9, original boxes or drop fronts?
OG.
OG boxes. Question number 10, glow in the dark or 3M?
Ooh. 3M.
Question number 11, Apple Music or Spotify?
Spotify.
Question number 12, what is your favorite Drake album?
Oh, shit. Take care.
What? Take care?
Okay.
If everyone could have seen the way your eyes just exploded, like everything else was like easy.
I felt it. Yeah.
Pineapple on pizza, whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like Drake's watching, you know?
Yeah, he might. You don't know.
Man.
You don't
never
know. When I said live audience, we meant live audience. Question number 13. What are 3 sneakerheading essentials? 3 things that every sneakerhead needs.
Cleaner.
Yes.
Extra laces.
Yes.
And a good attitude.
A good attitude. I thought he was going to say a subscription to Nice Kicks, but a good attitude is good too. No plugs. I'll do it for you. Question number 14. What is your favorite Jordan model above the AJ14?
I'm going to say the 21.
21. Good shoe. Great
21.
shoe. 21. Yeah, there.
Nice. You know?
Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
Question number 16. What is your favorite meal of the day?
Breakfast, but for dinner.
Wow.
Okay.
That's
nice.
Just a phenomenal answer. That was actually question number 15. Question number 16. Can you name 3 Canadian provinces?
Oh.
All right. I'm totally gonna get this wrong. Alberta.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, all right. That's one more than I thought. Fuck. Quebec.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
French people.
Easy. Oui. Y'all got something crazy.
Crazy.
I know this. Fuck. I don't know why I want to say Newfoundland, but like
that is one.
Yeah, that is one. Yeah.
That is one. Yeah. What a weird combination of choices. I know you've been to British Columbia, Vancouver, because I was there with you. And I'm sure that you know that Toronto's in Ontario. I would hope. Maybe not. So.
I mean, I just don't know what province.
Got it. You know specific landmarks and cities. That's fair. Hey, you got 3. You There's no pictures on the scorecard, right? You got it right. Question number 17. How many sneakers do you own?
I'm going to say around 180.
Nice. That's a good number. That's
crazy.
Are you going to keep going? Because I know you don't like to sell shoes. This is side top. I know you don't like to like get rid of stuff. Like you're very like attached to shit.
Yeah, I'm emotional.
I didn't want to say it. But
yeah. Thanks for airing me.
He's very sensitive.
Hence the Drake affinity.
Take care.
Take care. Yeah.
You know. I mean, honestly, at this point, like I'm just getting a lot of shit from brands. Like not even like trying to flex. Like it's just so much product coming in. Like I'm literally putting all my shit in my old room at my parents. Like I'm just dumping it off there. I mean, I'd like to cut down, but I just honestly don't have the time to like sort through everything, take pictures of it, list it for sale.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I'll donate. Like I've donated a few of stuff that I'm like, I'm definitely not gonna wear this. Like all due respect to the brands, but yeah, I'm good. But yeah, I honestly I thought I was gonna stop at like 100. Like I didn't think I was gonna go beyond
100
when I started like really buying shoes.
Yeah.
I think shoes I've actually bought, the number is probably like around like 90. I think purchases that I've actually made. But yeah, we'll see. I definitely don't want to get like 300 plus. I feel like that's insane.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll check back with you next year. We'll schedule another podcast. Question number 18: is a hot dog a sandwich?
Fuck. Yes.
Ew, gross. Disgusting. Question
American for you, you know?
Apparently, yeah. Damn. Yikes. Question number 19: what is the Canadian $1 coin called?
Sorry.
No idea?
No idea.
What if I'll give you a hint. It has a bird on it. It has a loon on it. It's called a loony. It was right there.
Oh, that's terrible. I'm sorry. What? That's your currency?
What's the $2 one called?
Yeah.
A Looney 2. I don't fucking know.
No, close though. Toonie. It's called a toonie.
This isn't real. Like I know money's not real, but this is insane. I can't take this step further.
Make it money, but make it fun, right?
Yeah, it is.
Sure.
Funny money.
Yeah, funny money. Question number 20: what is your number one grail?
I hate this term. Like I really do. But I mean I have them. It's gonna be the I always forget the actual like syntax of the name, but Zoom SB Air FC, the Manchester United colorway.
Oh damn.
0203. I was actually able to find, because I feel like for me, Grail's like I can't find it on Go or StockX, right?
Yes.
Like, I have to like kind of dig. Obviously, it's a lot harder these days than in the old days. But
back in my day, he said at the age of 24.
He said in 1998. Yeah. But yeah, I think that one, because I was able to finally find one like proxied from like Japan eBay type shit. Like it was.
Damn.
Like, yeah. So for me, like that was like a an actual kind of Grail type process. Having that, and it was only like $90 too, so it wasn't bad.
Oh damn.
Nice.
$90 Grail. You can't really go wrong with that. All right. Question number 21. Would you rather receive, or you already got it, would you rather get another of your number one Grail or 3 other pairs from your personal top 10 wants list?
I think 3.
Yeah.
So you don't have enough pairs already, right?
Right. What's
shoes?
But I think, like I'm gonna wear the other 3 a lot more because it is in my Grail, right? Like I feel like if it's in my Grail, I'm not like that's gonna be like, untouched. So I'd rather like
untouchable,
kind of like that desire to like hunt for it type shit.
That's fair. But if you got another one of your Grails, then you maybe would wear your double up.
We'll never know.
I guess we'll never know.
I
don't know if we're allowed to make that reference anymore, but we just did.
Can we cut that out?
Yeah, we will. Drake's not gonna like that one.
I lost my Canadian citizenship.
Yeah, it's over for you. Sorry, you were almost OVO Louise, and you just got cut from the team.
OVO Louise.
Universal healthcare. Fuck.
Dang. Oh darn it. No more loonies for you. All right. That's it for 21 questions, but we have a couple more questions for you, starting with just kind of, you have 180 sneakers now. You have a pretty cool job working at Nice Kicks. What got you into sneakers in the first place? How did this all start for you?
I think it all started really when I started running like cross country track. Obviously that's where like my Instagram handle, like Twitter handle comes from, like running. But the Pegasus 30 was like really the first running shoe that like I valued, and like I really loved like just the tooling, how it felt. And it was just something different. And then obviously, I mean, you can't talk about running and not talk about Nike, right? Prefontaine, Bowerman, Phil Knight, all that stuff, Tinker, like it all interconnects. So I think like starting diving into the history of running, and more so Prefontaine, like I just really like wanted to be a part of it in some capacity. I never thought it'd go to this extent,
yeah.
Paid to do it, but
yeah.
I think that's a lot of the people in the industry, right? Like it went from passion to profession. So that's kind of how it kicked off for me.
Love that, kicked off. Nice. How about getting started writing in sneakers or writing about sneakers? Was that like, again, like a passion thing that turned into, you can get paid for this, or vice versa, or what?
It was a little bit of both. Like I always wanted to be a journalist. I always had an affinity for writing, and obviously my love for like hip hop and, you know, being able to like speak two different languages. Like I think, you know, words are obviously powerful, but they can be strung along in a very interesting way. So journalism was kind of always my thing, right? Storytelling and kind of going deeper than like the surface level stuff. But really in terms of like writing about shoes, like I never really thought about it. Ian Stoneberg, my OG and one of the greats in the game, you know, he posted on Twitter like, "Hey, we're looking for interns." I'm like, "All right, cool." Like, you know, I'll put my name in. Like I was a sophomore in college, right? So I was like, "Oh, like this would be cool." And then, you know, it went from like writing about custom sneakers. God forbid I ever do that again. But, like, no shame on it, right? But like it was just
Mosh found your biggest hater.
Yeah. Why gotta be like this? No, it's just I think for me it's like how many Air Force One with Supreme and Cactus Jack branding are you gonna write about till the horse is fucking dead, right? Like but yeah, I think, you know, and it went from then to like, you know, writing about basketball. Like I did an interview with Devin Booker, and I feel like that's what kind of like really got me going, because it was an unplanned interview, and then Complex picked it up. BR Kicks, or I think it was just BR at that time picked it up. So, and I think at that point, you know, Ian and probably the rest of the team were like, okay, like I can do this. And even I was like, oh shit, I guess I can do this. And it kind of went from there.
The rest is history. And this was at Nice Kicks originally, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. You went to school for journalism as well?
Yep. Yeah. Arizona State. Got my undergrad and grad. I got my master's at Arizona State as well. So yeah, both in journalism, mass comm, the whole nine.
Wow. Is that like, it feels like I don't want to call it like a dying major, but like, was it like, as maybe now might be even different than when you were actually there, but like, is it kind of like being thrown to the wayside in terms of like how many people go into that journalism and like written media in general? Like, I would think, no?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I was only there like 2 years ago. So it's not even
shit.
Yeah, I graduated. I got my master's in 2021, my undergrad in 2020. So like, it's not like that was that long ago.
Yeah.
But I think yes and no. Like I felt obviously outcasted, or not. I don't want to say outcasted, but like it was definitely tough because I saw it was a blessing and a curse, right? Like I already had bylines at places that were like, I mean, that was a Nice Kicks, right? Like that's, you know, kind of creme de la creme in our industry, and kind of having that and already knowing, like I already know how to interview people, I already know how to, you know, work a lead and stuff like that. Like some of it was kind of just draining of like having to be in those classrooms at times, but I think part of it too, even just from an administrative standpoint, like not, you know, certain people in certain departments not wanting to give me credit because I was writing about sneakers and not writing about, you know, a crash on the I-10 or some like, you know, regular police reports. I think it was a little bit of that. I think that's what discourages a lot of people, especially I think people of color within the journalism industry, because I think it's just so like cookie cutter. Luckily I was like, fuck y'all.
Yeah.
Like, I'm doing my thing. I don't like it. Too bad. I already got a job lined up, right? So it's like, I don't need y'all. I just need the diploma at the end of the day, to kind of just for my own sake, really. But the writing aspect of it, I think a lot of people, and it's weird now, right? Because you kind of have to be a jack of all trades. You have to know how to like shoot your own content, shoot your own videos, you know, take pictures, find like the social media angle to it, even if you don't know really how to structure it, like at least just thinking about it. So I think on that front, Arizona State's very progressive. Like you definitely have to learn a little bit of everything, from like SEO to coding to all this stuff. So,
oh wow,
you know, for me, like it was great. I can't imagine myself going anywhere else to learn it, but a lot of it felt like I learned it through the job rather than through school. But
right,
it both went hand in hand eventually. So
nice.
It's got to be harder to focus on school when you know you have the job. sitting there, like you're just again doing it for the
paper.
I just need the paper. Yeah.
And like it's tough too, right? Because like again, I think the problem with journalism now is non-traditional journalism isn't really valued, or isn't really like there's no classes for it, right? Like how to submit a fucking invoice, like what's like 90 net 30, like what, like the hell does that mean? Insurance, like it's like the real like life shit of being a freelance journalist. I think a lot of people don't teach that, and obviously that's something I got accustomed to after a while, but I was like, yo, this is wild.
They're still teaching like this is how you write for a newspaper, basically.
No, seriously. And like some of it like is super helpful, right? I think for me, one of probably the most impactful like lessons, like, hey, here's a press release, like write a story on it. Just like on the spot, you have 30 minutes. And like for me, especially with the sneaker industry, it's like,
that's everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Like I see an alert on my phone, I'm going crazy, right? Like Shams broke the news about Kyrie. The Nice Kicks post was up in 14 minutes. Like, it's just stuff like that where I'm really grateful, because I feel like the speed and the accuracy, I don't think I would have had it not been for going to school for it. Like that's definitely something that I appreciate from my time there, but it's a little different. Sure.
So on that note, like being in the news world, basically, like, I mean, just speaking from experience, like Soul Savvy, you wrote at Soul Savvy for a while, and we weren't like the news source. Like we had news, but we weren't trying to break news necessarily. There were times where we did, but that wasn't our job or your job specifically. Now that's your job. Like your job is to make sure you guys get it up first before the XYZ. We're not even going to name drop the other people because fuck them. Nice Kicks is paying for this podcast, no one else. So what's it kind of like living in that kind of world where literally if you got an alert right now, you'd have to be like, sorry guys, peace. Like Kyrie just signed with Adidas. Like what's that kind of, is that basically how it is for you 24/7?
Yeah. I mean, it's weird, right? Cause like I'm doing the journalism job without doing, I mean, I don't want to say it's not journalism, but right. I think, if you're a news reporter, like you kind of have to be on the clock 24/7, like holidays and all that stuff. And like, sure, I get to write about sneakers, but I still kind of have to be aware of my surroundings. Like I have notifications on for literally like competitors, industry people, like all that stuff, because I just need to be on top of it, right? And it's good and bad, right? Because like it's hard to unplug, but I feel like I know the industry like the back of my hand, well, more so than I did a few years ago. But it's a lot, because I mean I also work at a boutique here in Phoenix, so kind of like juggling all that on top of trying to be the best that I can be, and running and all this stuff, like life shit, right? Especially at 24. It's a lot, but pressure is a privilege. And it's fun. I think that sensation of like, even if we weren't first, like just knowing like I got it up in a well done format, like in the best time I could have, like hell yeah, and obviously when you see certain people share it or like click it or, whatever, like, obviously that's very gratifying and reassuring. But I think really just being a part of sneaker history in some way, shape or form. Like, I feel like, in 5 years I can look back and like, whoa, we were really like kind of on top of the Kanye coverage.
Yeah, like we broke this news. Yeah. Like
I was like, stuff like that is obviously, especially seeing how big sneakers is now, right? Like from a media perspective, like it's not nothing. I mean, the New York Times wrote about the Kyrie story, granted 20 minutes after we did, but like
say it again
say it again, man.
20 minutes. I was already asleep.
I think just being a part of that and still like having that chase and sensation of being a journalist is cool, and having the respect, I think, especially from brands and like teams now, of like, oh, sneakers is like it's a $1 billion industry, right? So kind of being, it's like a really great time, I think, as a writer, to just kind of be a part of it in any capacity.
What else kind of goes into the life or like the daily life of a working at a high volume sneaker blog, essentially, like Nice Kick? Like it's, again, like I don't know how many followers, but I want to say it's got an M after it, like it's 1 million something at least. You guys are like relied upon for stuff at some point, right? Like there's a certain like importance to it, and there's obviously like there's ad obligations. There's a ton of different shit that goes into all these articles and all the stuff you're doing, I'm sure. But like, what kind of goes into it? Like, is it literally you sitting there writing all day? Is there like meetings involved with like, how are we going to write about this shit? Do you have a team that helps you write? Like, Are you being like, your stuff is garbage, I'm gonna rewrite it? Like, what's going on? What's going on with your like day to day? Because I always like, again, like I've known you now for almost 2 years, which is pretty cool. I know you just write like non fucking stop, but there's obviously other shit that goes into it. Like, what is the other shit essentially?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've only been in this role, I think, at 5 months, right? I think I'm still very fresh to it. But yeah, I'm still of the mindset like I gotta write the story, right? Like I'm the news writer. I'm like, this is my beat, and like, while there are moments, right, where like what was it the other day? Fat Joe, Terror Squad, Air Force Ones, right? Yep. It's like, all right, laptop up. Like sometimes I'll even have to just do it off of my phone, just get started on my phone. That way, like, wherever I'm at, I'll get to my laptop and go from there. But I mean, the cool thing is like no 2 days are the same, right? Like I try to wake up in the morning early and like assign stuff to, my team of writers. Like we have dedicated news writers and dedicated product writers, right? Where we like, Joey and Cheyenne, big ups to them. Like they're really like the storytellers of the company, aside from myself, and try to, poke their brains like, all right, cool. Like how can we expand on this? Who are we interviewing? What's the angle? Like, okay, cool. You just went on a press trip. Like, how does that look, from a storytelling perspective? And then, I think for me, it's like really, again, just being alert for the breaking news stuff, right? Like if these sneakerheads is leaking everything until 2025, like, just, and I think it goes a step further. It's like, what's priority, right? Like, okay, cool. This like, for example, like, let's just say Air Jordan 8 playoffs and the Union Air Jordan 1 low KO drop at the same time. It's like, you got to think like from an SEO perspective, what makes most sense, and like, is that a leak? Is that reliable? Like, I think part of it now, I didn't have this. I don't want to say it's an issue, but I didn't really have this kind of expectation or visibility when I was at Nice Kicks my first time around, and then at Soul Savvy. But like, brands are gonna hit you up if like, hey, can you take that down? Like, hey, we'll share the story with you at the right time, but like, can you take it down? Like that's
crazy,
but it's kind of cool, right? To be like, all right, cool. Like they entrust us to tell the right story at the right time, but part of it's like, at what point is that relationship just very much transactional? Then like, but obviously
you're in the business of breaking news, right? Like you got to add sometimes I'm sure there's like, no, sorry, no, bro. Like it's news. It's got to stay up.
Yeah. And like, stuff like asking brands for like comments or, like stuff off the record and all that. Like that's cool, but it's like, it's really, I don't think anyone really, even the Brendan Dunns and the Russ Bankstons of the world, like really thought journalism and sneakers would really connect to the way that it has, right?
Yeah.
And other greats as well, not just them, but it's crazy. Like the day to day, I want to say I'm writing 5 stories a day. Sometimes it's less. Sometimes I'm editing headlines. Sometimes I'm changing SKUs. Sometimes I'm like, hey, can we reformat this? Making sure our internal tags are right, like stuff like that. Like, I mean, I really don't know what editor-in-chief means for a sneaker news site, right? I think we don't have like, obviously, to your point, right? Ads play, and our industry is just so very unique and niche still, but it's also massive, right? So there's a lot like Nice Kicks has 4.1 mil, I think, on IG.
4.1. Okay, see, I should have added some zeros. My apologies.
Numbers on the board, get it right.
My apologies. My apologies to the sponsor of the show, good friend Nice Kicks.
But yeah, like Nice Kicks is a big name, and I think there's a lot of responsibility. And luckily, like we have a solid social team. Shout out Des. He's on paternity leave right now, but nice dads,
nice dads.
Nice dads. But yeah, it's just I think we really have a really solid team, and brands are really starting to like we respect Nice Kicks as a news source. I think that was my main thing. I think at Soul Savvy and Nice Kicks, like, sure, we're talking about shoes, but I want to tell the right story.
Yeah.
Nice. If you won't give it to us, we'll find it.
So going into that, you mentioned responsibility and like speaking on like leaks and stuff. How much goes into that? I don't know, like if you understand the question, like if I'm explaining it properly, like you see a leak and you're like, okay, how much do I read into this? This is a shitty render, or this is the pictures of leak shoes are always in like some bathroom with bad lighting, like a terrible
2 megapixel
phone, like taken with my Nintendo 3DS kind of photos. Like how much do you like does it kind of just depend on what it is? Because there's the want and the need to be first, but there's the want and the need to be accurate and be responsible with it too, right? Like even like the Kyrie, like all that kind of shit, right? Like everyone trusts Shams, but like in the event that he's wrong and you write an article saying this and Nike's like, the fuck are you doing? Kind of like there's like obviously the tug, like the give to and fro to it, right? So what kind of goes into that? Like how do you dance with responsibility and accuracy, but also trying to be quick, swift, and in a hurry?
I think part of it's just intuition, right? I think the best example is that whole like red SB Tiffany leak that like a lot of places picked up. You know, I know one of our writers came up, he was like, hey, like, should we write about this? And I was like, it don't feel right. Like it just, you know, like I don't think this is actually happening. But I'd rather be late than wrong when it comes to stuff of that magnitude, right? Because SBs are hot, right? If you asked me 3 years ago, I would have been like, fuck it, run it. You know? Like, like it's cool, like it's early, like whatever. But now it's like, and obviously the Tiffany line in of itself, right? Like that's something you want to respect, and you know, Diamond and all them. So stuff like that is tough. Obviously the good thing about, right, like when brands like, having the cadence and the relationship of like, hey, I can, you know, they're asking, you know, for favors like, hey, can you take this off? Like I can ask them for the comment, you know, I can.
Yeah. Is this dropping? Yes or no? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and not, they're not going to reply, but at the very least, like they know, if they need to, they know we're working on it. Right.
Yeah.
Or we have something in the works. Like sometimes it'll be like an email, like, hey, we heard about this. We're going to run with this. If you want to comment, great. If not, we're going to continue to run with it. If we're wrong, let us know. But this is the story and the angle we're going with. So like that part of it's cool. But when it comes to leaks, it's hard to tell, right? Because obviously at this point, there are some well-established leakers, right? And a lot of them are being either fed by the brands or by retailers. So it's like kind of, there's a flow to it now. But obviously there's other things where you're like, I don't know. And, you know,
when it's always the concepts that get me, like they're never even close, but you're like, but do I use this picture or do I?
It's like, you know, it's what we can work with. And obviously a lot of it comes down to like attribution, right? Like, hey, this image came from them. This came from them. Like we're just reporting the news. We're not taking it for, and obviously if we have to, we'll make a stance of like, this is actually inaccurate, but this is what was said. But yeah, it's tough. And it's still changing. I think, like, you know, like I said, sneaker media is still so young in the grand scheme of media in general, right? Like this isn't pop culture. This isn't Vogue. Like this is just like, you know, it's still very in its native and infant stages. So, it's cool. Like to be, you know, kind of have a say in those decisions and to be a part of those conversations with other team members. Like, do we leak this? Like, do we run it on social or do we just run it on site and not on social? Like, how does that look like? I think that's kind of the fun, and you get to see, like, you know, just because obviously we still have communication with Matt, right, the OG. So him kind of like seeing the industry since the inception, from a media perspective to like, you know, the new wave of writers. Like I think that's kind of fun to kind of go back and forth of like what should and shouldn't be written on.
Speaking of like with Matt, like how things have, I'm sure, changed. Like how have you, even and you've only been there for a couple of years, how have you seen it change? Because I'm sure even in that short time it's changed incredibly. Like I feel like everything now, like Instagram equals news. That's essentially like you said, like if you look through the Nice Kicks Instagram, it's just screenshots of your news articles because you need to make sure people see it. Like people aren't just like, oh, got to check nicekicks.com for the newest like articles. Like they're like seeing something on Instagram and then going to the website. Like how have you kind of seen it change? And like, do you like it where it is? Do you see it changing back? Like just in general on how the industry is. I mean, social media is essentially news at this point.
Yeah. And it's just tough, right? Because I think right now we are in such an interesting time with social media, right? Twitter, that's a fucking hellscape. I might get banned just for saying that. Like Instagram, the algorithm is literally terrible for anyone. Like I don't think there's TikTok is fuck. I don't. I'm not even on it.
Same. Me too, brother.
Yeah, like surprisingly, Facebook's the only constant, and that's honestly where the most our click rate, at least for news, comes through the most.
Interesting.
Because especially for Instagram now, right? You have to click on the image. Like let's say you see it, right? Link in bio. You got to click Nice Kicks. Then you got to click link in bio at Nice Kicks. Then you got to find the story. That's like 4 steps.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people, especially this younger demographic of sneakerheads, like they're not doing all that shit. Like they rather just see the mock-up and go and make their own story or assumption from them.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it too, where, having someone with a journalistic mindset, and luckily too, Des, our social media guy, he did a lot of journalism classes too. So like he kind of knows the ins and outs of what it takes to kind of present a story. And I think Nice Kick Social has a really good cadence of like, okay, yeah, like this is like a little bit of a meme, like there's some funny to it, like, but like you're still getting the essential out of it. If you want to go more in depth, great, there's .com. But our social media, I think, is at the forefront of news. And like for me, it's cool. Like I think just seeing that, and it challenges me to think like, okay, cool, how can I make my story or like future stories or features like more presentable? Because I'm thinking for .com, like I'm thinking, how can I make an interview like pop off on IG, right? Like if I want
in 10 words,
if I want people to read my shit, I got to make it relevant, And I think that's one of the things I'm working on still, and it's a cool challenge. But I think even before the industry kind of changed over, right, like in 2016, 2017 of this massive boom, I kind of knew like the .com isn't going to be the bread and butter, but it adds a level of integrity, right? Like, you can be a cook group with an IG platform, but like that .com says something, the news angle says something, the presentation of it says something. So I think on that front, like I know where my writing stands, and the importance of sneaker history and consumption and whatnot, but it's still a factor, and brands respect it, right? And that's ultimately at the end of the day like one of the most important things, because again, you build a rapport, and it isn't so much being a mouthpiece for them, but more so like being able to have a relationship. Like if a Kyrie thing comes out, if a Kanye thing comes out, asking them to comment, asking them to like what's up, like what can you say off the record kind of for shit like that. So I think it's at this point, it's at the level and discretion and disposal of these platforms. Like whatever Facebook and Twitter will end up doing, like that's just how we're gonna have to adapt.
Well, I'm about to be verified on Twitter. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not thinking that blue check mark. Just put my credit card information in and getting that blue check mark for $8 a month. It's interesting you said that though. Like, I mean, it makes sense though, because we're living in the clickbait generation, right? Where you need that catchy headline, or no one's going to go out of their way to click 4 times to get to the website to read the article. So yeah, it's very interesting that like, it's something you need to think about. Like, how can I make this pop in 10 words so someone will want to go through that effort to read the entire article? Very interesting. It's YouTube. Everything's done that, right? Clickbait is as fuck. Before we go, as you mentioned, your couple other things you have in your life here. You just ran the Chicago Marathon, which is incredible.
Amazing, bro.
Your time was under 5 hours, which is a little over, around 5 hours.
5:12.
5:12. That was it. Yeah. I was following you I downloaded the Chicago Marathon app so that I could follow my friend Luis and send him a cheer on the app.
Nice.
So that's incredible. LT's back on the track, which is cool. I know you said you want to run all the other, what is it? A big 5?
Big 6. The 6 world record. Yeah. I got 5 left now, but 6. Yeah.
6. Yeah.
6.
What is it? New York, Berlin.
New York, Berlin, London, Boston, Tokyo.
Tokyo. That'd be
Tokyo.
You're thinking like one a year or like a couple years?
I mean, the cool thing is, right, like run is one of the very few sports where you get better with age.
Yes.
Like you see Kipchoge, he keeps making PRs every fucking year.
He's not young either. Like I don't want to say old because Joel is here, but like he's not young.
Yeah. Like basically, like every high profile runner can be a LeBron, right? Like you can be running for 20 years and still be impressive. So I think, I'm not in a rush. Like for me, it was really like, I want to get my first marathon out the way. Like just that mental hurdle, that physical, because I've trained for them before and I got injured during the process. So like to finally run one healthy, and obviously I didn't run as I would have liked, but I mean, I still did it.
You still ran a fucking marathon.
Man.
That's not nothing. So for me, it's like, all right, I just want to get my body and my mind in shape of because running was like really my thing. I want to get back into enjoying it, and then really like going crazy on it. Because
go ham.
The Chicago only came out again because Nike hit me up. They're like, hey, like 2 weeks into the job, they're like, hey, you want to run Chicago in like October? I knew my body was not ready, but I'm like, fuck it.
5 months is not a long time to prepare for a marathon. Like to run,
No.
was it 44 kilometers or something stupid? Like,
Yeah, 26.2 miles, whatever
Yeah.
that is, kilometers. Yeah, so like it's like but I want this. I want to get it out the way. And Chicago is honestly probably one of the most fun marathons to run because it's so flat.
Nice.
Like just doing it is probably like one of the better of the 6 to kind of get your first one in. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'd love to run all 6. I hopefully want to get it done within 6 to 7 years. So
well, you said it now. That was on the record. So
Yeah.
we'll point back to this in 6 to 7 years. And we'll give a shout out to your secondary employer, Manor. I have visited the store. Beautiful location. Do you want to give a quick plug to Manor out in Phoenix?
Yeah, we're actually opening up our second location now.
I didn't know that.
In the
Nice.
So if anyone's familiar with Arizona, check us out in Gilbert. Hopefully, probably by the time this airs, it'll probably be like a week or 2 out.
Oh, wow.
Hopefully, everything's kind of a show when it comes to a storefront being. But
Yeah.
we got a lot of stuff, exciting stuff on the way. We're year 6 going on 7, like Super Bowl collab.
Oh yeah, it's in Phoenix this
Ooh.
year.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Open, obviously, that's obviously a big thing for the sports. Doing that, we're trying to merge, streetwear and sneakers with golf. And so it's been a real big thing as of late, right? East Side.
Yep.
A few other spots, Malbon, a few other brands have really kind of taken it to heart. Even Nocta, right? Like they're doing their stuff, right? So it's a really cool time to be a part of that. I'm not a golfer by any means, but just
Time to start.
but kind of like running, right? Like running is also in this like very infant streetwear phase.
Yes.
Like,
the cool time. Yeah.
Running's cool now, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's like New Balance being cool now, right? Like
yes.
Like everyone wants Hoka's, or not, I don't want to say everyone, but like this is never that. Did a collab with Hoka. Like no one saw that shit coming.
Yeah.
Hoka, right? Like stuff like that. So I think it's a really cool time to be, especially the only local boutique in Arizona, right? Like we have an undefeated, they're from LA. We have a feature, they're from Vegas. Like being like the Arizona boutique is like just
that's
really
fire.
Dope. Yeah,
That's dope.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can't wait for my invite to the Manor Phoenix Open launch party. That will be.
Well, I told you pull up.
You did say to pull up. I think you said I can stay in your house too. So that was a really nice offer. Nice Kicks is going to fly me out there, and I'm gonna.
You're right here. You're right here, right now.
Luis, this was fire. This was great. I hope you enjoyed being the interviewee rather than the interviewer for once, because this was very enjoyable for us.
Appreciate it.
No, of course, man. Thank you to everybody who listened. Wherever you're taking the episode, please leave a comment, review, follow, and/or subscribe. Make sure to check out CanadaGotSold.ca to shop the latest CGS merch. Keep to YouTube for our videos, and check out CGS Talk on Facebook to chop it up with us. Don't forget to use hashtag CanadaGotSold on Instagram for a feature. I have been Lawrence Hopkins, and you can find me at LDoggyStyles on Instagram. Woof.
I'm Joel Hernandez. You can find me at Joe Dooney, JO_D3OsNEY.
Luis, where can they find you?
LT on the track, and the is the A. Shout out to Zombie on the track. Start from the bottom. Now we're here. 666. The brand is strong. I'm not even joking. Also, to the Canadian homies out there, 8.5 in those Air Force Ones. So
every single pair of the CLB Air Force.
Run the shit up.
We got you. We got you. Thank you for listening to us talk about sneakers for 216 episodes. And please remember to rock your kicks. This has been True to Size. We have been CGS and LT on the track, and we are out. Peace. Brand is strong, right?
Brand is in front. Hey, I didn't even mention it on the pod, but Drake's dad follows me on IG, which is wild.
Oh, word?
I don't know why.
I think you told me that actually.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And I never followed him back for the longest. I literally forgot. Like, hey, Drake's dad follows you, and I went to I'm like, does he still? And I was like, oh, the whole follow back thing. I'm like,
yeah,
shit, my bad.
Damn, that's your in, bro. Aside from us, that's your in.
Yeah, my bad, Dennis.
Dennis.
Damn. Now you got Canada Got Soul and Dennis Graham. Shit, you are basically OVO Luis, baby.